We're about to begin the service. Susan, Pestine, want to welcome everyone here at the chapel, as well as the many people that are viewing this service remotely. Just for those of you present here in the chapel, if you have a cell phone with you, please place it in the silent mode or turn it off completely. That would be appreciated. Officiating is Rabbi Andrea London from Beth Emmet in Evanston. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise as the family enters the chapel.
I know we are gathered in a small room and we are filled to overflowing, and I think it's a wonderful representation of Susan's life that was filled with love, with friends, with family. I know people here from Sedgebrook as well, where I hear that Susan was called the mayor of Sedgebrook. Shiviti Adonai l'negdi tamid, ki mimini balamot, lechen samach libi v'egel kivodi, apis arishkon levetach. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side, I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice, my being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. Death has taken our beloved Sue. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God. Be with them. For Sue's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever, for her companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory, for the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Adonai roiler sarbinoteshe yarbitseni, almei menachot yinahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek lema'an shemo. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. L'kol zman ve'et l'chochefetz tachat hashamayim, et leledet ve'et lamut, et lata'at ve'et la'akor natua, et lifrot ve'et livnot, et livkot ve'et lischok, et svod ve'et urkod. We learn in the book of Ecclesiastes, for everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. So we now take these precious moments together to speak about the life of Sue Pestine. His loving family would like to share memories and stories about Sue today. And so I'm going to invite them to come up and share those at this time. We start with her older brother, Ron.
Today, we gather with broken hearts to say goodbye to my sister, Susan. In Judaism, we call this moment hesped, not just a speech, but an act of love. We speak her name, we tell her story, and in doing so, we honor the life she lived and the place she will always hold among us. My sister was more than a title or a role. She was a presence. She showed up in ways both loud and quiet, through her laughter, her stubbornness, her kindness, her questions, her care. She carried our own light, a neshama, a soul that was uniquely hers, and the world is dimmer without it. As her sibling, I knew her in a way no one else could. I knew her strengths and her struggles, her humor and her heart. We shared history written in ordinary moments, inside jokes, arguments that passed, memories that now feel sacred. Those moments shaped me, and I will carry them for the rest of my life. The Torah tells us a good name is better than precious oil. My sister leaves behind a good name. One spoken with love, one remembered with gratitude, one that deserves to be a blessing. And may it truly be so, a blessing that softens our grief and guides us when we miss her most, and that reminds us to live with the same heart she brought into the world. I'd like to close, recite a poem that seems appropriate, as if Susan were speaking to us. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints upon the snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain, and I'm the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circle flight. I am the soft star that shines at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die.
Thank you, Ron. I would now like to invite her grandchild, Vera May Nolan, to speak.
I'm nervous and overwhelmed, but as Gaga would tell me, just start. The rest will unfold. And that crying and talking at the same time, is super hard. I've been struggling to talk about Gaga and write this speech, not because I'm a quiet person, quite the opposite, really. I talk a lot. I'm a yapper. I taught Gaga the term yappuccino, and she laughed so much. She never refuted it, so well, she agrees, I'm sure. I'm struggling because Gaga is like the air I breathe. I don't see it, yet know it's there. And she's not some sort of series of stories to me. I can remember how I feel around her: warmth, compassion, acceptance, belonging, and steadiness. I can feel that my whole life she has been a presence that's part of me, but I can barely tell you the stories that made that happen. It's like she just is a part of me. She was just really awesome. I mean, otherwise, I don't think you would be watching the live stream or sitting here now, would you? Am I right? She was one of the places I could find quiet in my racing, big, bold, beautiful brain, as we call it. As a little kid, I would snuggle into her on a couch and do nothing. My mom says Gaga would just chill and let me use her as a pillow, her arm wrapped around me and my body tightly nestled into her squishy body. We didn't talk or anything that I remember. I'd just absorb her goodness and settle down. Feeling better, I'd pop off the couch and go to something else. She made me feel like I was entirely supported and my life was her life. I could be all the versions of myself with her. My hyperfixations were hers. This one time, I was yapping about bowling ball cover stock for over 15 minutes. I mean, full-on dive into reactive resin versus polyurethane type of science geek stuff. She leaned in and listened as if I was a Nobel Prize winner explaining the theory of the universe. She had no clue what I was talking about, but oh wow, did she want to. My friends were her friends. Every time Mom talked with her or I saw her, Gaga would ask specific questions about my friends, making sure to know them fully. How's Dia doing in Chem Phys? Did Jayla beat her personal record at the tournament? She was locked into my life with friends because it mattered in so many ways. I love her a lot, but I don't think it's possible to love her more than she loved me and each of you.
Beautiful, Vera, May. And now I'd like to call the other grandchildren, Ethan, Maddie, and Aden, to speak.
All right. Today, we are here to celebrate the life of my grandmother, Gaga. To me and to all of us, Gaga was the most caring and loving grandmother that anyone can ask for. She was proud of her family in a way that you could feel every single time that you were around her. You always knew you were loved, supported, and believed in when Gaga was near and her presence was felt. One of the things that defined Gaga was how deeply she showed up for the people that she loved. She didn't just say she cared, she proved it through her actions every single day, even when she was yelling at us for being so competitive in Maj with her. Specifically me. Ever since I started playing sports from a young age, Gaga was always my biggest fan. She was always the first one to show up to my games with her foldable chair and the last one to leave. She was always the loudest cheerer when I was up to bat and was also never afraid to tell any of the other kids on my team how to play the game. Whether or not they wanted to hear it's a different story, but she was never afraid to let her voice be known. I never missed a chance to go over and give her a hug before and after each game, just as she never missed a chance to tell me how proud she was of me. She believed in me more than anyone. Whether it was sports, school, or anything else in life, she made sure I knew how proud she was of me. Her courage gave me confidence and strength and will always do so. I have countless amazing voicemails from her that I'm going to save forever, congratulating me on passing my finance exams, telling me about Vanderbilt football, and even how the Bears suck in the preseason games. What I will carry with me forever is not just her support, but her resilience. Gaga was a fighter. For all my life, she kept going through so much with strength, courage, and heart. And for that, I want to say something directly to her. Gaga, I am so proud of you. I'm proud of you for your love, your strength, and for continuing to fight for all of us through all the years I was lucky enough to know you. Your legacy lives on in all of us, and I want to thank you for being my Gaga. I'll miss you more than words can say. I will carry you with me always.
It's hard to read this now. Okay. For those who don't know me, I'm one of the famous or infamous grandchildren of Susan, and I've had the honor to call her my Gaga for 22 short years. Whether us grandchildren are famous or infamous to you, I don't really want to know. But if we're infamous, just know my Gaga was not talking about me when she referenced her grandkids. If you didn't know Gaga well or couldn't tell by the usual color of her always polished nails, I can tell you with certainty that she loved the color purple. I read that liking purple as your favorite color means that you are sensitive, compassionate, understanding, supportive, and think of others before yourself. All traits that cannot more perfectly describe my Gaga. Even more impressively about these traits is the fact that Gaga was consistently all of them. Her attentiveness to others' needs never wavered, even when her own needs became more critical over the years. Gaga wanted everyone she had ever crossed paths with to know that she was rooting for them, no matter how little she knew them. She would always ask how my dance teachers were doing and insist I say hi for her, even after meeting them once. She wanted to know how all my friends were doing at school, and most importantly to her, Gaga wanted to make sure that her family felt cared for, supported, and assured that we had her in our corners. Gaga was truly her grandkids' biggest fan. She sat through all my performances when her health allowed, and made sure there were videos to show her when she wasn't able to be there in person. Gaga called me before and after all of my shows at school, always starting her voicemails when I couldn't pick up right away with a comforting, "Hi, Maddie, it's Gaga," and ending with, "Okay, I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye." Always that way. She was consistent in her support of us, consistent in her caring manner, and consistent in showing up for those she loved so deeply. Gaga was a woman who could make anyone's day instantly better with her contagious cackle and beaming smile that could truly light up the world. And she certainly did light up the worlds of all who knew and loved her. While it seems impossible right now to imagine life without Gaga here on Earth, I know that she and Papa are cheering me on together, reunited once again, proudly watching as I conquer life. Sorry. I want to end by leaving a voicemail of my own for Gaga. "Hi, Gaga. It's Maddie. I'm here with so many people who love you and are so blessed to have known you. We're all so grateful for everything you've done for us and everything good you were for the world. While we're a little upset you couldn't lead us to a Bears win last night." Sorry, I wrote that in the first half. I really did. Thanks for that insane comeback, by the way, but let's try to hold off on the scare tactics from now on. I promise to always keep dancing, strive to make you proud, and keep our family at the forefront of my life, just as you taught me. Please give Papa, Zadie, and Uncle Shelly a big hug and kiss for me. And selfishly, please stay in our corners. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
Now I'd like to invite her son, Jason, daughter-in-law, Aliza, to come and speak.
Those who know Jason well know that he is what is referred to as a mush of a gambler. He walks into a casino or any type of gambling event, and he and everyone with him loses.
It is facts.
Although jinxed as a gambler, Jason and Beck hit the jackpot with the incredible mother they were blessed to have. And lucky for me, I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming, kind, loving, selfless, accepting, genuine mother-in-law. I felt an instant sense of belonging to the Pestine family from the first time Jason introduced me to Sue and Harry. I remember walking into their home on Wendy Way, Harry welcoming with, "Nice to meet you, Elijah." And Sue with her beautiful bright smile embracing me with a big old bear hug, like she'd known me forever. Fast forward a few weeks, and there I was in Soldiers Field at a Bears game with Jason, Harry, and Sue. Not knowing anything about football, Sue made sure to sit next to me to give me a play-by-play in layman's terms. I was amazed by her excitement for and knowledge of the game. However, it was also during that game that I think she gave up on trying to convert me to becoming a football fan, when instead of being riveted by the game, I sat back in my chair and nonchalantly pulled out a book to read. Several years later, and many visits and football games watched together, Sue took on what I think was her most cherished role as a Gaga. Whether it was accompanying the kids to baby classes or simply driving them to and from school, Sue was so eager to spend time with her grandchildren. No ask was too big or small, and nothing on her calendar was more important when it came to spending time with Ethan, Maddie, Aden, and Vera. She found pleasure in caretaking, never burdened by it. From her devotion to and caring for Harry and her aging parents, to raising and caring for her own kids and grandchildren. As devastating as this loss is to all of us, Sue's legacy will forever live on in the lives of all of us who were so lucky to have known and loved her. Rest in peace, Mom. We love you and will miss you. You will forever be in our hearts.
Hello, I'm Jason. I'm a Sagittarius. I bleed the blue and the orange of the Bears. And most importantly, I'm my mom's favorite. Just ask my sister. She will tell you. I have the honor today of sharing some thoughts about Mom since I won the fight with my sister earlier this week on who would speak. And for those that don't know my sister, it really wasn't a fight. She didn't put up much of a struggle. Thank you for joining us today to remember and celebrate Mom. We have friends and family joining us from Florida, New York, Minnesota, California, and various other locations, both here in the room and online. My mom was one of a kind, selfless, amazing person, always looking out for her friends and family, and the first person to ask you how you were doing. It was never about her or what she needed. It was always about you. My mom's community of friends was simply put incredible. She would introduce herself to anyone, anywhere, at any time without hesitation. From lifelong friendships with her teacher crew of over 60 years and Maj friends, to the many people she met at Sedgebrook, she was universally loved. Everywhere she went, especially at Sedgebrook, people would stop and say hello and tell us how wonderful she was. Even Aden's friends who worked there at Sedgebrook would send Aden selfies of my mom from the cafeteria or wherever they would find each other, always excited to see Gaga and let Aden know that they were with her. And just yesterday, we were at her house, and Maddie and Vera and I went down to the little market, and I said, under Pestine. And the young lady behind the counter simply said, "Oh, I love Mrs. Pestine. She's awesome." Like everywhere you went, that's what everybody's reaction was. She was awesome. After her teaching days, Mom became a Tupperware rock star. All we knew as a kid was Mom would go to people's home and sell some plastic stuff, which seemed cool at the time. And what was more cool is we got to go to Florida every year for some conference, which was also pretty cool. And an awesome perk was after we would pick up the boxes, we would pack up the orders, we actually got to play with the boxes. I mean, what kid doesn't love enjoying playing with boxes? We had so much fun with that, but wow, now that I think about it, we were really cheap labor. I guess at that age, I really didn't know how to negotiate really well, so thankfully I fixed that a little bit later in life. As we grow older, Mom was always the first to volunteer and the first to arrive at every single game. I know Ethan mentioned that, usually dragging Dad along happily. She loved sports, knew them well, and never missed a chance to support Beck and me and our friends. My high school group, what was the over-under? My tears, 3 words that I go over? Cool. My high school group, the 91 Posse, became an extra son she never asked for, but she fully embraced and loved. And if they wanted her opinion on how they played, she gave it, unfiltered and raw, and the boys knew it was coming, especially after football. She was so comfortable with them that on a road trip to pick me up at Kansas one time, one of them asked to stop to go to the bathroom, and that was not a smart move. Not now, we're making great time. And about an hour and a half later, she finally stopped. Mom's selfless nature showed up everywhere. For as long as I can remember, she waited in lines at sunrise to secure Becky and I our camp registration because there was no online thing. What's this, internet? And, even things for the 4th of July party and getting a permit at Glenview. She would drive 7 hours each way to pick up Becky for a doctor's appointment at school because she decided to screw up her knee. Or she would drive downtown when commuting on the bus and the train, an hour and a half each way. It got to be too much, and she would go back and forth for Niles. Never blinking an eye, and just would do it. Or even her road trips down to Springfield with Dad because, who likes to drive to Springfield alone, so they decided to go together. Mom's love for family grew exponentially with Aliza and the grandkids. From the moment I introduced Aliza, Mom told me not to screw it up because she knew Aliza belonged in our family, and thankfully I listened to her this time. Mom adored Aliza, and Aliza could do no wrong, even to this day. It was always funny when Mom would ask Aliza for some physical therapy advice about random aches and pains. Aliza's a PT for kids 3 and under. When you have aches and pains in 60s, 70s, it's a little bit different, but she still would always ask, and Aliza was happy to help. Mom would love getting Aliza's Boom Boom magazines, People and Us. For those that don't know, Grandma Reni used to love the Boom Boom magazines, and it carried through to Mom. And when she was done reading them, she would share with her friends. And as an added bonus, Mom and Dad became very close with Aliza's parents, Irv and Diane. Mom and Diane both love Maj, and it was rather fun right around Thanksgiving when we were all playing together with the kids. Speaking of the kids, holy, insert adjective here, they meant everything to her, truly everything, from waiting with us in the Evanston hospital for the births and wanting daily updates up until as recently as 2 weeks ago. She never missed a moment of their lives. She watched countless baseball, football games, as Ethan said, befriended every parent at times, was too opinionated, and we did not coordinate, obviously, because I have some overlap. And she was a fixture at the boys' home games constantly. She would never miss a dance performance, even traveling with us on occasion, and the competition wasn't too far. Mom loved watching Maddie dance and happily would pick her up anytime we need just so she could watch a rehearsal. As many of you know, one of her greatest joys was cruising. They would go on cruises, I think 13-ish, 14, I don't know how many cruises. She always said that one of the best cruises she took is when Mom went with the 5 of us on a cruise out of New Orleans. The kids were really small. So when I came back last Wednesday to say hi, she loved that we had such a good time on our cruise, and that Ethan won the slot tournament really brought her great joy. She has a little habit. I could go on for a lot longer, and I know everyone would love that, but I will bring us a close with a few last thoughts before we get to take our little road trip. I am going to miss my near daily weather updates, especially when she knew I was traveling or something was taking place at the schools. I'm going to miss the next time I drive home from the airport. I won't be able to call her and tell her I'm back home, talk about my meetings, and say hello, which I did every time. I'm going to miss simple pleasures with her, like McDonald's Diet Coke, Super Dog on Mondays, Mother's Days and her birthdays, Portillo's Cake Shake, and kibbeh from Pita Inn, or coming over for barbecue and Aliza's favorite famous ice cream pies. On Tuesday night, when things weren't looking good, I told Mom that it was okay to go see Dad now. It was a great weekend for football, and I'm sure he'd love to watch with her. I love that Mom was with Dad last night, watching the Bears game, no doubt helping the team pull off the impossible comeback down 18. Clearly, I wrote this late last night, or at least portions. We grilled ribeyes and made her favorite chili cheese dip yesterday for a little pregame snack, exactly what she would have requested. I had so much fun yelling at the TV with Ethan, Maddie, and Aden last night, cursing through the first three quarters, and then cheering as we made the comeback while Aliza may or may not have been sleeping. It was fun and heartbreaking at the same time. Knowing Mom wasn't there cheering with us, calling the penalties before the refs, or calling after every big play if she wasn't there with us. But I could picture her on the couch, surrounded by the dogs, celebrating right along with us. Thank you, Mom. We'll miss you. We love you, and we'll cherish you forever.
So many powerful and beautiful tributes to a woman as Becca, or as I found out the other day, Becky. At Beth Emma, we call her Becca, but Becca or Becky. And Vera May said about Sue, she was presence that lived in and around us more than she was stories. She was woven into our lives in so many ways. She was the energy that light up light bulbs, the air we breathed when together, the joy that came with entering a room, and so much more. Her steady comfort, love, friendship, liveliness, and relational abilities filled us up. And that's certainly what we've heard from her loving family today, so beautifully expressed. Sue had one older brother, Ron. They lived in Hyde Park when they were young and then moved to Skokie. She and Ron didn't fight when they were growing up, except for the time that Ron locked her in a closet and told her it was for a Cub Scout badge he needed to earn. Only children can do that, right? After moving to Skokie, she graduated from ETHS, Evanston Township High School, and went to college at Bradley, where she became a teacher, teaching third grade with a specialty in math. She met Harry on a blind date. When he saw her, he decided to scrap the simple date that he had planned and instead brought her to Uno's. They were married less than a year later. During the time that they dated, she would go to the University of Illinois to see him play football. And as we've heard, she loved football and was an avid Bears fan. When she and Harry married, her parents gifted them season tickets to the Bears. She and Harry raised two children, Jason and Becca and Niles. It was difficult for Sue to bear children, and she had to be on bed rest for much of her pregnancies. And so she was so appreciative of being able to have her children, who she loved and adored, and her grandchildren, who she maybe even loved and adored more. Jason and Becca have fond memories of trips with extended families to cabins in Wisconsin, fishing, puzzles, playtime. Sue was the expert fish cleaner, and there are lots of good memories of Becca falling asleep in her spaghetti dinner, Sue making a salad with the leeches and worms in the refrigerator that were supposed to be fishing bait, and of her being a loving grandma, Gaga. And when she moved to Sedgebrook in her 70s, she was part of a group that they used to call the Baby Grands because they were under 80. As we've heard, Sue was selfless. She was a wonderful caretaker for Harry as he got older and for her parents. And she was fearless and confident. After she finished her teaching career, she started hosting those Tupperware parties, and Jason and Becca were amazed she could get up and talk and sell Tupperware to anyone. When the grandkids came along, she would take them to their playgroups and immediately meet and make friends with the other parents. We've heard about her being an avid mahjong player. She used to play with friends every Tuesday night when Jason and Becca were growing up. She used to say she was playing to pay for college for them, even though they always played for pennies. And if she won a quarter, that was a lot. As we've heard, she enjoyed playing the slot machines, both at the casinos and on her computer. She adored her grandkids, and boy, did you speak beautifully. I can just feel the pride that she felt for all of you, and the love that you expressed to her was absolutely wonderful and amazing. Memories of sleepovers in their house in Niles where you'd play with the Beanie Babies, and she was interested in whatever you were interested in, whether it was the mechanics of bowling or your dance or your other sports that you played. Sue was not known for being a great cook. When she was asked what was for dinner, she used to say, "Whatever I can dial the fastest." She was a great orderer, I understand. Just this past week in the Jewish world, we started to read the book of Exodus, in which Moses is commissioned by God at the burning bush to go back to the land of Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery. We read this, that God called to Moses from the bush, saying, "Moses, Moses." And Moses answered, saying, "Hineni, here I am." Hineni, here I am, is not an expression of one's physical being. It is an expression of one being fully present, heart, mind, and spirit. And as we have heard, Sue was a Hineni person. She was interested, engaged, caring, fully present in people's lives, which is why people loved her so much, because they could feel her deep love, care, and concern and interest in them. And so as we gather today, she leaves a legacy of love and family, her investment in children, grandchildren, and their friends, and the best laugh ever. Hineni. Sue was fully present for us. And as we surround her and her family with great love, let us be present for them, to give them the support that they need in this time of their grief and in this time of their mourning. Zichronah livracha. May Sue's memory always be for a blessing, as the life that she lived was a tremendous blessing for all who knew and loved her. Amen. God, you give us loved ones and make them the strength of our life, the light of our eyes. They depart and leave us bereft on a lonely way, but you are the living fountain from which our healing flows. To you the stricken look for comfort and the sorrow-laden for consolation. O God, we see life as through windows that open on eternity. We see that love endures and the soul endures as you, O God, endure forever. We see that the years are more than grass that withers, more than flowers that fade. They weave a timeless pattern in a world that is the dwelling place of your love and glory. We now take a moment to offer a silent prayer in our hearts to Sue and to her adoring family. I invite you to rise as you are able. El Maray Rachamim Shochem Bamromim, Hamtemen of Hanachona Tachat Kan Feshchina. Im Kurushim Torim Kzorakia, Masirim et Nishmat, Shoshana Bat Yaakov Vereni. Shalchal Olamam. Baal Harachamim, Yasireha Paseter Kanfav Olamim, Vitzro Bitor Chaim et Nishmata. Adonai Huna Chalata, Vetanuach, Bishalom al Mishkava, Venomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Susan, who was the daughter of Alfred and Reni. She has now entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated.
The interment will take place at Waldheim Jewish Cemetery. We will be taking the highway, so we want to make sure that your car is properly marked with an orange funeral sticker, which would be placed on the inside portion of the passenger side, as well as a magnetic flag, which will be placed on top of your vehicle. And please use your bright headlights and your emergency flashers at all times while in procession. And please stay as close as safety will allow to the car in front of you to avoid large gaps in the procession. The Shiva will be at the Pestine residence at 2218 Miramar Lane in Buffalo Grove, following the interment, say 2 p.m. until 7:30 this evening. The family has asked for memorial contributions to the Evanston Scholars or the Beth Emmett Soup Kitchen. That information is listed on the service folder you received, and for those of you that are viewing the service remotely, that information is also on the Chicago Jewish Funerals website. At this time, I'm going to call upon the pallbearers: Nathan Pestine, Madeline Pestine, Aden Pestine, Vera May Nolan, Beth Farber, Adam Gertz, Mike Hirsch, Debbie Skatch, and David Blum, and as honorary pallbearers, Vickie Pestine, Arlene Blum, Diane Hornstein, Adele Feldman, Audrey Rollinger, Jeff Stern, and Karen Ferdman. At this time, we'll ask the pallbearers to please step forward and everyone else to please rise in silent tribute as we escort the casket from the chapel. This does conclude this service. For those of you going to the cemetery, we'll ask you to go directly to your cars. Thank you.